I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Tuesday, January the 19th, brought to you in part by VitaFerm, by Biozyme, made right there in South St. Joe, Missouri. Used to work right across the street from that plant there and used that product for many years there running cattle in Missouri. Doesn't matter if you're wanting to make the best use of your fescue, if you're looking to improve conception rates on your cows. They've got a mineral product that will fit whatever you need. Got the Amaferm, their own patented product included in there. There's a lot of other minerals that use Amaferm in their product, but they don't put enough of it in there to do you any good. But VitaFerm sure does. And check out VitaFerm wherever you buy mineral. Break from the board, and it's kind of nice to have a break from the board and still being able to do business, and there's not that many days of the year that you get to do that, but Martin Luther King Jr. Day was one of them with the board completely closed up, and you didn't have to worry about the volatility of that, didn't have to worry about it breaking the market to start the week, and it's kind of nice, and it just leaves people a little bit more at ease taking their cattle in to sell and knowing that everybody else is going to be still working and doing marketing and buying cattle and selling cattle, and but you don't have to worry about the board. So you saw big runs in your sale barns, and it wasn't just because of that, but you know, it's still high time to be selling cattle. But a lot of people that I talked to, and it wasn't just a few, said one of the reasons we saw big runs here early this week is because of the uncertainty about the inauguration that's coming up. We saw Oklahoma National Stockyards at 17,500 head. Now they get big runs, but that was a little big. And talked to several people, said that that was one reason they think that they had that many. People just don't want to worry about what's going to happen on Wednesday with the inauguration, and likely nothing will happen, but for some reason they got over 20,000 troops standing around Washington, D.C. They've got fences and barriers covering all of our federal buildings. They've got razor wire coiled up on top. You know, I don't know what they think Armageddon's coming or what, but it's likely going to be like the Y2K. It's just going to blow right over. I'm not even sure that Joe Biden's going to be there. I think it's during nap time when they have that inauguration schedule, so they'll probably record that or do it virtually or something like that. He's sure not going to be standing up at a podium with the elements and the cold air and all that kind of thing, because he probably wouldn't do well in that. But so we're not planning on anything big coming, but you sure hear a lot of conspiracy theorists talking about what's going to happen and this and that, but I imagine it'll be just like everything else that's happened over the last several months when it's come to do with the election. It'll just pass right on, just like it's supposed to. But that's bringing about some uncertainty. So we don't know what's going to happen. We've already seen the changes coming. You know, the Biden administration says they're going to open the borders up, and they're never going to build another foot of the wall, even hinting around that they would tear down the wall that we've spent millions of dollars building. And we've really controlled our illegal immigration on the southern border since we've got so much of that wall up. And during the Trump administration, they just quit trying, because they were enforcing that and keeping people out that aren't supposed to be here. We can have immigration, but you gotta stand in line and go through the legal process to get in. But we've got caravans down in Central America heading up this way, and luckily those the countries down there, Mexico and down into the Central America parts, they are trying to keep those back, and they've kind of been working with the Trump administration about keeping people back, but they're forcing their way up through their countries and heading north. So I guess we're going to find out pretty darn soon what the Biden administration is made of whenever we've got tens of thousands of illegal immigrants coming with no mask on to hit the southern border. We're going to find out what they're made of pretty fast, I think. But let's talk about what went on in the cattle market. Like I said, we didn't have any board. Now, I will say that your grains Monday night were down pretty good. So that could give us a kind of a start on the upswing on the cattle, because grains were down pretty hard for an overnight trade. Last I looked, I think corn was down about 5, and beans were down in the 15-cent range there. So we'll see if that holds. But we've got real strong markets in our back months of our cattle. We talked about that on our last visit, but you go on out past spring, we've got some pretty stiff markets out there, and it's something you can hedge to, guys, if you've got lighter weight cattle, and it looks awful good out there. And I'm not sure how we're going to gain that much ground, because, man, we've got guys on the cash side anyway that just sell cheaper, whether they have to or not. They just, somebody comes in and shoots them a bid and they just take it. And so I don't know how we're going to gain that much ground in our cash market, but it'll be fun to see it happen. Your weighted average on last week's negotiated fat cattle trade in your 5-area feeding region, 83,700 head. Pretty good movement, the best we've seen here for a few weeks. That compares with 65,800 the previous week, and 75,100 the same week a year ago. But you look at your live sales and steers and heifers last week through the week, ranged from 106 all the way to 112. A lot of 111 in the southern plains, a lot of 110 in the northern plains. But if you look at the breakdown of prices, and they report that, we had about 9,700 head that sold from 172 to 172 and a half. I didn't realize we'd had quite that many. But it was in your northern plains, because we didn't see that big of a movement in the southern plains. Northern plains sales were heavy, especially in Iowa, and that's what pulled down on our weighted average so much. Iowa sold 27,400 head last week. That's a big movement for them. Nebraska about 31,100, Kansas only 12,500, and Texas only 7,300. So a lot lighter trade in the southern plains, and that was where your highest prices were at. So that's how come our weighted average kind of lacked. We had almost 19,000 sell from 173 to 173 and a half, and about 9,300 head sell from 174 to 174 and a half. Your weighted average on live steers was 109.52. That was down $1.75 from your weighted average on steers the previous week, and that goes along with your general trend, which was $1 to $3 lower. Dress sales were $2 to $4 lower, ranging from 169 to 174, largely 173. And so that stuck. We didn't have a big spread with all your bulk sales, which most of your dress sales are right there in your western Iowa, eastern Nebraska regions anyway. So they stuck pretty close to each other, but kind of a narrow range for the dress trade on steers and heifers from 169 to 174. Your weighted average was 173.06. That's still down $2.73 compared to the weighted average on dress steers the previous week. Nationwide, we sold 95,900 head of negotiated sales, 271,700 head of formula sales, and then that's a glaring difference. But actually, as a percentage, your negotiated sales wasn't too bad compared to formulas this past week. In your 95,900 head negotiated, we had about 35,700, or 37% of those were for the 15 to 30 day delivery. That's a little bit more than usual. So kind of getting you guys set up here just a little bit. But let's talk to you about your feeder cattle market, your real-time index on DB auction, sitting at 132.02, and you would think that's very, very logical. 800-pound steers at 132, counting all of them that go in. That was down 54 cents from the end of last week. You look and see how that compares with your latest CME Cash Feeder Cattle Index. It's kind of hard to do, because everything's been shut down because of Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and the latest available we have was from the middle of last week at 134.45. But we all know that 132 is a much more rational price overall, from up through the middle 12 states, in your nation there, right through the center part. But let's talk about your big markets. How about Oklahoma National Stockyards, Oklahoma City? I mentioned earlier that 17,500 head. That's a lot of cattle to choke. They actually started a little bit earlier than usual, which they always start at 8, but they started at 6:30 on Monday morning to try to get done a little bit quicker. Feeders were steady to $2 lower. And your feeder calves were the same way. Your big yearling feeders and your bigger calves that need to go into some kind of a feeding facility, they were also steady to $2 lower. Your lighter weight stocker type calves, those weighing under 500 pounds, $2 to $6 higher. So, and also, you know, that's because they have a lot more options. That's because you can cheapen them up if you can find a place to turn them out. But also that's because you look at those back months on your cattle futures and those lighter weights. Man, they've got an opportunity to do something. How about Joplin Regional Stockyards? 7,100 head. Their market was steady to $3 lower on all classes there. Give another market, big high volume market on a Monday. Russell Livestock, Russell, Iowa, 4,800 head there. It was sure lower, but they had a whale of a sale last week. But it was sure lower. Market reporter there called them as much as $10 lower. I pulled the automated market report for Russell out of Cattle Market Central. Didn't look to me like they were that much lower. Maybe 3 to 6 spots, $7 lower, but I'm not going to argue about it. It was sure lower. Look at some best tested weights there on that automated market report. 1,108 head of 6-weight steers, average 656. They'd be all calves, guys, and pretty soft probably. 140.84. That was down 574 compared to the weighted average a week ago. 632 head of the 7-weight steer calves, average 758 at 133.27. That was down 332 compared to the weighted average a week earlier. And on a big test of heifers in the 6-weight category, 787 head of those, average 646 at 126.29, down $3.71 on your weighted average from a week ago. How about some individual quotes around the circuit? Sioux Falls Regional Livestock, that's in Worthing, South Dakota. They had the best market on big calves and middleweight calves. It was on their heavy 5-weights and all their 6-weights. They just won't bring 160 anymore. Your 6-weights won't. But they did in Sioux Falls on Monday. 72 head, 648 pound steers bring $160. That's a top quote there, guys. How about a market that's way out west there that was awfully impressive? How about Treasure Valley Livestock, Caldwell, Idaho? I don't know that we've ever talked about them before, but good market there. And had a good run and could sell some lightweight calves. They've had some moisture out west, guys, and things have really changed out west there. And I'm going to be going out west here in the next couple weeks. I'm going to be going this week out to Nevada Livestock Marketing in Fallon. Going to be auctioneering there, and they got about 6,000 head of cattle there. Got a lot of really long, fancy strings of cattle. You can view and bid that sale on dvauction.com. Be a lot of hard desert calves on there that'll be long time weaned and ready to go to grass. They just haven't had anything to eat. But then the week after that, going to be going up into northern Idaho at the Weiser River Cattle Association. Going to be doing a talk up there. So if you guys are somewhere around that area, try to stop by and see me. But Treasure Valley Livestock, Caldwell, Idaho on Monday sold a set of thin 88 head, 508 pound thin steers, bring $174.50, guys. In Idaho, you guys can't get that anywhere else. And and then I heard from a guy said they were just hide, hair, and running gears, but a lot of quality there. But I tell you what, that is one heck of a price on some light steers way out west. But the best quote that I saw anywhere come on Big Feeding Steers, and your Zach Tran top quote for the day come out of Tri-State Livestock, McCook, Nebraska, 64 head, 849 pound steers bring $138.75. And that's your feeder flash for Tuesday.